Next, we have Dr. Nabil Belmeki, teacher, researcher and writer, Sidi Mohammed bin Abdullah University, Morocco. Dr. Belmeki is a Moroccan teacher, researcher and writer. He has authored and co-authored many journal articles and books. Also a member of the Transparency International to fight corruption and a reviewer of many international journals including IJLLS, IJECS and PJOS. He has participated in many international conferences in Morocco and abroad. Visual semiotics, political discourse and language education constitute his main areas of research. His life motto is "No man is an island" and his COVID mantra is "It can be overcome." Welcome to our symposium, sir. A very warm welcome to all our eminent guests.
Indeed, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Several countries, several brilliant names in the field of academics, but all have one goal as to how do we come together and improve ourselves going forward. How do we address the problems and challenges thrown upon by the COVID environment? How do we find solutions? And most importantly, how do we create opportunities? We'll divide our discussion into two parts. First, we will talk about the problems and challenges along with the solutions. And the second half, we will look at the unique opportunities the situation has thrown upon us. But well, let's now go across to Morocco. And Dr. Nabil Belmeki is joining us there from the Sidi Mohammed bin Abdullah University. Thank you for joining us, sir. Your three distinguished challenges in your great country, as well as your creative solutions to address those challenges. We're looking more at the solutions aspect, sir, because that's where we want to learn and take some key takeaways.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Belmeki, you could go ahead. You're audible, sir. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the invitation to participate in this interesting webinar. I really appreciate it. I myself am going to talk about the experience of Morocco and how the COVID-19 impacted and changed our life, especially when it comes to education. So we know that in Morocco, schooling is no longer the same as before because of the coronavirus. Neither students nor professors thought their interests would include distance education. However, as in other parts of the world, of the spread of the coronavirus in Morocco has led to the closing of educational institutions across the country as a preventive measure to protect students and teachers from this infection. So far in Morocco has never had any experience with distance learning. Despite this, the Moroccan Ministry of Education has agreed to replace physical courses or face-to-face courses with distance learning, enabling students to pursue their courses at home. So the distance education strategy was used by public and private schools via educational websites and social media applications. This is a required step by the Ministry of Education to continue the process despite the current circumstances. As far as higher education students are concerned, each university has added a box to its website in which the students can find the course day and time online. It is to Microsoft Teams and Classroom. These are safe platforms to promote collaboration through video conferencing, file transfer, instant messaging between teams or working groups. Actually, there are many challenges when it comes to distance learning experience, especially for the rural areas which are deprived of distance learning because these platforms do not meet their minimum requirements in the countryside. For this reason, the ministry said there would be television broadcasting channels aimed at providing educational content to as many people as possible. particularly those who do not have access to the internet, and added that broadcasting would be done via Moroccan television and private television stations. So we can say that while all these measures may seem reasonable, these measures would seem quite impossible if implemented in a country where abject poverty represents more than 40% World Bank and more than 50% in rural areas. On the one hand, most families in urban centers lack stable internet access, and only a fortunate few middle-class families can afford to subscribe to the monthly data package. Even these families struggle because most of them have more than two children, and only one family computer makes learning time difficult to without straining the device, let alone shed light on who lack basic access to modern utilities and services, including essential infrastructure, electricity, safe water resources, etc. Another factor we may mention here or at stake here is that those who are expected to perform distance learning sessions, I mean teachers, are neither well equipped with electronic devices and reliable internet connectivity, nor competent enough with tools for remote learning and online teaching pedagogy. Insulting to injury, professional development programs, I mean, which have mitigated the shortage of preparation for teachers, are insufficient for teachers who already juggle an array of pressures and responsibilities at, let's say, at schools. So
Right.
in my opinion, when it comes to Moroccan experience, distance learning is a great challenge which creates unfair inequality among Moroccan students, as it prevents a large part of them access to education based solely on their family's economic status. So if we fail the present in a time of crisis, the future certainly will suffer. Of course, there are many challenges facing distance learning in the COVID-19 outbreak, and we know that they are unavoidable. But during this time, some strategies may help to keep learning attainable and productive. Here, I mean that governments, educators, students, and their parents should work together to help students maintain continuity in their education during this challenging time.
Right.
For possible solutions that we have in Morocco is that recently the government asked the teachers and students, even parents, to choose between traditional learning and online learning. If you want to send your students to school, you have that right. If you want to stay at home and receive courses online, you have also that right. And here the government give teachers the ability to work in the classroom, and they have begun to incorporate technology into their practices, even it's not sufficient.
Right.
So these are some of the challenges and solutions that we have here in Morocco.
Thank you so much,
Thank you very
Professor Nabil, for sensitizing us with the problems in your country. I think, of course, a lot of us developing countries have common problems, and the inequalities, which I think all our speakers have highlighted, is something that we've got to overcome very quickly because of the divisions in our society, particularly on the economic front, has a potential threat to have a further division because of the lack of access to the internet facilities. But of course, teachers training and creative engagement with the students is also one of the challenges you pointed out. But I'm deeply impressed, Professor Nabil, by the action taken by the state, in recognizing the problems with the speed and alacrity and responding to them the way they have. And I think all states need to take a cue from Morocco. So thank you for sensitizing us with that. Let's move. Thank you for that. Dr. Nabil Belmeki from Morocco, your time of 1 minute starts now for your 3 opportunities from this pandemic.
Okay, thank you very much again. So actually there are some opportunities for many countries. They will be able to step up the technical capabilities of their students, and I can say that radio and television stations will realize their vital role in promoting national educational goals and hopefully enhance the quality of their content, recognizing their tremendous social obligation. Also, parents will be more interested in the education phase of their children, and education ministries will have a much better understanding of limitations and challenges. I mean, in communication, infrastructure, incorporation of digital technologies into the curriculum, training of teachers that arise while using technology effectively and acting on it. All this will improve the country's future educational system. We know that more engaging learning styles are ones that are more interactive, and face-to-face learning is better than 100% online learning. But we know also the blended learning can draw on the best of both worlds and create a better learning experience than 100% face-to-face learning. Thus, blended learning approaches will be tried, tested, and increasingly used. Also, this is an opportunity for government to think seriously on how to implement and incorporate technology into the teaching and learning process. I mean, for instance, we should have what is called digitizing textbooks, not printed textbooks. Also, last thing I would like to mention, we know that it's not clear when the COVID-19 pandemic will be contained. We are still living with it. So we should plan for long term, and the government should think seriously again how to incorporate a new strategy, a new new approaches in education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Suddenly, whenever you mention the word opportunities, there's a lot of efficiency that comes into conversations. So thank you for that. Mr. James